Tonight, we're going to be talking about all kinds of stuff happening in the world of Disney and Disneyland. We're going to talk about Halloween Horror Nights. It's now open. We got first-hand reviews of that. And we're going to talk about those passes in Florida, all on ParksCenter tonight. Welcome, everyone, to ParksCenter. I'm your host, Rob Whiteside, and this is ParksCenter for September 5th, 2021. And tonight we have got a panel full of experts to talk about all things Disney. With me tonight is Mr. Eric Morton. How are you doing, buddy?
Hey, Rob. How are you doing?
Good, good. Keep that energy. Desi, how are you?
Hey, howdy, hey. I'm doing well.
Awesome. And with us also tonight is Shannon.
Jumbo.
That'll work. That'll play. We got a lot of news to cover tonight. First, before we get into anything else, and we're gonna talk about Horror Nights. We got some first-hand accounts of that one, and then we're also going to talk about the Walt Disney World Passholder passes being on sale again. So we all have some opinions. So we're going to talk about that in a bit. But first, let's talk about Remy. The Rat is open for previews right now. I know that some of our staff went, and we had some stuff on the website to share with everybody. You know what? This place looks beautiful to me. I know that there's some comments about the ride itself. If you guys wanted to go to wdwnt.com and check out all the stuff about the ride and the reviews that we have, people went in and checked everything out. We have cast members going in. We have AP, D23, DVC. Everybody seems to be able to get a shot to get in, except for me. So as I'm looking down here, though, some of the stuff like this merchandise with the Remy coming out of the top, that must have been a fun pitch meeting to have when they talked about all this stuff that they were going to make for this. Eric, you've actually ridden it. What did you think? How was it? Was it crowded? Tell us everything.
So I was fortunate enough to be able to go on Friday and also on Saturday. On Friday, I was able to ride it 2 times. On Saturday, actually, I rode once, and then the ride broke down. So I thought it was really fun. I think it's cute. I think it's charming, adorable. I don't think this is not, let's not kid ourselves, right? This is not an e-ticket attraction. If this is virtual queue, it probably says more about the other rides in Epcot than it does about this ride. I think it's really fun. It's cute. People are really going to like it. I think it doesn't even have to be 3D. You wear 3D glasses. There's a 3D. There are 3D effects and things, but I don't think they're even needed. Some criticisms that I've heard are about the projections, where you kind of just still see a black floor in front of you in a lot of the places where you're supposed to be kind of immersed in this. But the ride vehicles, they move, nice and smooth, and it's kind of like they're dancing around. I would say. This is similar to Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, but with more physical sets. So I think in that sense, it's a little more fun and charming than Runaway Railway. I think people will like this ride. I don't think it's the virtual queue must-have ride that they want us to believe it is. It is undoubtedly the best ride in World Showcase. That's probably not saying much, but there you go.
I mean, better than Frozen? Frozen has a long line. People love Frozen. I mean, I think that the animatronics and the effects are pretty good there. But is it better than an empty plot? Because that's what was there before. Is it better than an empty plot?
Empty plot? Which movie are we talking about?
No, in France, it took up an empty plot that was there before.
Of course.
So I'm just saying.
Of course.
I complain about the Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway because it took over something that I love.
Because it has an empty plot.
Yeah, this is actually you know what? Let's go to Desi. Desi, say something nice because Eric's not being nice.
My reservation is for Thursday, so I haven't gotten a chance to ride it yet, but I did take a look at all of the merch, and I have to say that the merch looks adorable, especially that chef's hat with the little Remy popping out the top. It's so cute. I love it.
So you'll definitely be.
We did have to buy that one yesterday.
Do you have one of those, Eric?
Yep. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
We got it for a friend.
Oh, sure.
They also have like little ride vehicles. They have them in multiple colors. They have a blue ride vehicle and they have a brown ride vehicle. They had, I forget. They have a remote control thing with the cheese is a remote. Yeah, I'm not sure what happens with all this stuff, but Yeah, I didn't get to play with everything too long. It says that goes on your shoulder, I think, but I don't know. There's your ride vehicle.
Yeah.
That's a must-have, right? Well, the blue one. There's the blue ride vehicle as well, I believe. There you go. That's what you ride in. You ride in a blue one.
Okay. Uh, Shannon, are you excited about this, or or is this just like, eh?
I'm excited for any expansion in World Showcase. World Showcase is a beautiful place, so even if we get one extra street, something that's new to discover, I'm happy about that. Disappointed though in another trackless ride system only because it's not really friendly for people who are prone to motion sickness. But we do need another ride, so no complaints. I am looking forward to it when I go down in November.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. It's one of these things where we went from no trackless ride systems to three, seemingly very quickly because it's the new hotness or whatever. I do think there's a lot you can do with it. It doesn't have to be, a kind of a quick, jerky motion type of a thing. But, for me personally, I'm just really excited that we have anything else, like you said, in World Showcase, because I feel like World Showcase needs a bunch more. Wouldn't it be cool to get something from Mary Poppins? Oh, wait, we're not going to get that right now.
Yeah.
Ah.
It's probably worth pointing out just the land itself is very nice. It's very well done. It's beautiful. I had criticisms in the past, like from a distance. They were really plain, like painted flats that are in the distance. You don't really notice them there at all. And the creperie, I literally, I've eaten every crepe there. There are, I believe, 11 crepes at the sit-down restaurant, and then there are maybe 8 outside, and only a couple of them are duplicates. And I have to say, the quick serve crepes I liked a lot better than in the sit-down place. So maybe that's me, but they had some delicious crepes out there. I think the quick serve is better.
Well, and before we move on, you talked about the restaurant. There was some people talking about the fact that the restaurant seemed very plain.
There's me. There's me.
Oh, that's you.
That's my head.
Yeah. The restaurant seemed very plain. Do you have any complaints about that, or I mean?
It wasn't a concern to me. I thought it felt nice and comfortable and new. So I didn't. I mean, I know some people's tastes vary, right? Some people more is more, less is more. But with me, less is just fine. I thought it was okay.
Okay. Very cool. All right, so let's move on to talking about there's a lot more coming on with the 50th. I felt like we needed to talk about that a little bit, including something I wasn't really expecting was a Skyliner car. So there was a couple of these floating around for the 50th, which I think is very cool. Definitely feel like this is something they could do more of for movie tie-ins, things like that. But I'm glad to see at least this is up and running. And then they also have a bus wrap for the 50th that we spotted out on property, and then. There's been a couple other like this iridescent paint job to the clock, the world's most magical celebration in front of the train station. Banners are going up everywhere, and then we've got more of these statues. So and a lot of the statues we knew were coming. There's Frozone, there's Bambi with Thumper, Rocket without a gun but with a Groot on his shoulder, and then Lady and the Tramp. So a lot of new 50th decor is going up. Eric, let me go back to you. You've been walking around. Is it starting to feel very magical?
Yeah, you're starting to feel it. I have to say the bus and the Skyliner vehicle both look great. I love that clock. The disappointing part was probably the banners, which at least the ones like outside International Gateway, they look sun bleached. Like it looks like they're starting off their life a little sun bleached. That's just the color scheme they chose, I guess. But everything else, I think it looks great. It's starting to feel like the 50th is coming. It's very exciting.
This doesn't look iridescent. It looks sun bleach.
At least the ones at International Gateway do, and some of them actually you can see the iridescent coating on them, and some you can't. So,
gotcha.
I don't know what that's all about.
Okay, Shannon, are you going to go down for the 50th? Are you going to be excited about all this stuff? And do you have a favorite already?
I mean, not as exciting as the Cake Castle, but no, I won't be going down for the weekend of the 50th, but I will be going down shortly after in November. I just hope to see more. I like that they are adding in more and more as we go on. But when I think about, looking through the merch, we talked about in Ink and Paint the last episode, some of our favorite items. And my parents have so much merch, artwork and things from the 25th anniversary that I don't think we've seen yet for the 50th. So I want to see more of that. I'm also surprised that they took that stage down already. I know that it was just being used for their TV special, but I thought it was a nice touch, even if you didn't use it for anything. So I think TBD on that. I'm excited, looking forward to it.
Yeah, I think for the stage it was just for the special they were taping, but I assume with the crowds they had to make sure that there's enough room for everybody. That's just my guess.
True.
Hey, Desi.
I want to know why sometimes if you've got two characters on one statue that counts as two separate ones, why are Bambi and Thumper only two characters, but the butterfly doesn't count? Please tell me that.
That's your question? Another one we didn't talk about was there's Hey Hey and Pua, which, I mean, there's nothing that represents the 50 years of magic at Disney World like Hey Hey and Pua. I mean, they've really been the quintessential, they've the linchpin to all of the magic that I've enjoyed while I've been. I think that
Miguel and Dante, two totally separate statues, too.
Yeah, I mean, if Joe from Soul wasn't there, I don't know what I would do. I would lose it, is what I would do. I don't know. I love that they have these things and they've got something for everybody. They've got a lot of new characters, but it just seems like it. And I know that Derek, you guys did a list on News Tonight back a few weeks ago about what should be the what should be the 50. Yeah.
Yes, we attempted that.
That was a long. Jump to the end and see the list. It is actually a good list, though. I like that list because I feel like it should be things that represent what's been happening at Disney World, not necessarily what's happening in Disney. Because it feels like, I don't know, it feels like it should be stuff that's specific to Disney World. That's what I'm excited about. Figment, excited about Orange Bird, and I think that those are nice touches.
And if it was just Disney, you would think that they would include Snow White.
Or any princess other than Ariel, who also includes Flounder and Sebastian. So, yeah, it's a head-scratcher. Anyway, I'm not really sure what they were thinking on that. I do know that, I mean, I want to ask, what were they thinking with this? There was a fight that broke out.
Oh boy.
Yeah. We just got this last night, right? And there was a fight that broke out on one of the ferries. I'll show a little bit of this video. This is not very magical. This is not very Disney. I don't know if this is if these people knew each other and there was just some beef involved. If it was a fight over Lightning Lane and the new Disney policies. I'm not really sure what transpired there. But Desi, is this how a visit usually goes for you while you're at the parks, or is it just because they hate the ferry, or what happened?
I mean, if you don't see something like this break out, did you even have a real trip to Disney? No, I can't say that I've ever seen or witnessed anything quite like this in my time going to the parks. But hey, I've only been going for like 30-something years, so maybe I've just missed out on something.
Eric, is this how you roll when you get to the parks?
This is really sad, and I think it's worth pointing out to people, if you didn't learn this growing up, a lot of us already learned this, but when you see something like this happens in the park, you want to videotape, you hold your phone in landscape mode, not portrait. That'll give us a much better view of what's happening. And again, whenever you see portrait mode, you know something's about to go down. I've watched World Star too many times.
So you're saying that the biggest criticism you can give was of the photographer who shot this?
I just feel like I don't have enough information to know who's really at fault. There's a girl that walks up. It looks like she's standing there just getting ready to put her ears on, and she just gets tagged. If you notice, there's what is sad? There is a girl that is crying there, standing there like doesn't know what to do.
Girl, yeah.
And there's a stroller. There's strollers with two. So there's the girl crying on the right, and then two kids and two babies in strollers in the middle of this fight. Yeah, these people should be ashamed of them. If you can't, I assume it's some perceived slight or something someone said. If you are not mentally strong enough, if you're so mentally weak that you can't take that slight and turn the other cheek because there's kids present and go on with your vacation and instead risk getting arrested, hurting other people, hurting children even, you don't belong in the park. So it is disgusting behavior by these people. I don't want to take it too lightly, but also kind of fun.
Well, yeah, I don't want to take it too lightly either, but I do think the babies probably started it. Shannon?
Yeah, honestly, I think this is a part of the world we live in nowadays, in the world of having to document and everyone has their phones at the ready. You know, I want to believe that this has never happened before, but who knows? I mean, I think Pleasure Island got a little wild back in the day, right? Floridians, come on, hot,
Yeah.
sweaty crowds.
You know what? I mean, for me personally, I think a lot of it has to do, and this is going to sound like a leap maybe, but COVID, we've all been locked into our houses and everybody's like jittery about the world in general. And I think that it raises everyone's anxiety levels. And I think people are more likely to snap. You're right. This isn't the first time we've seen something like this. There was a throwdown in Toontown like 2 years ago.
Oh,
July
that
2019.
was crazy.
Yeah, that was
That's
a
this
legit,
times 20.
yeah, that was a legit fight. But I mean, I think that when you're in a park, it can be a stressful thing, especially if you're like, trying to balance, what everybody in your group wants to do, and the lines are long and it's hot, and, it just, I guess it comes to a head, and this could be the straw that broke the camel's back, and somebody just, but again, Eric, great point. You don't do this in front of kids. You shouldn't do this at all anyway, but you don't do it in front of kids. And also, I mean, there's just I don't understand the not being able to control yourself just to get to the other side of the lagoon and get to your car.
Yeah, I think
It's
the
like
other
a
problem too
5-minute
is that
ferry ride.
yeah, and they're closing the parks right at fireworks, and they've even been playing announcements I've seen on some live streams to say, please hang around a little bit longer because you have this
Right.
mass exodus and it's insanity. And yeah, you're gonna have cranky people at the end of the night. It's gonna happen.
The ferry in
The
particular,
fair
I
didn't
think,
look
is,
that crowded though.
yeah, I don't know if this was at park close or not. I think it was a little before, but the ferry in particular at night, like those kind of like, it's like a cattle, I don't know what it's called, but where like cattle like get like funneled into that line to get on the ferry. It can be, it feels awful. It's not fun. But you have to be an adult. You can't just start fighting people because you're mad.
Yeah.
And that wasn't even the only crazy thing that happened at Magic Kingdom yesterday.
Oh, the Hatchet Man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we can talk about that in post show though, but it was definitely a crazy day. Let's move on to something else it's a little scary, is Lightning Lane. So Lightning Lane signs, we have photographers in the parks taking pictures, seeing that Lightning Lane is going up in Epcot, in the Magic Kingdom, not that, but also, at Hollywood Studios. So we've got the Lightning Lane signs are up. This means, to me, Lightning Lane is very soon approaching. Maybe this is an October 1st thing. Eric, thoughts?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what to say about the Lightning Lane in general. The thing doesn't look good. I don't know why they felt the need to even change the name of the service. It has to be coming soon, right? It's coming soon.
Yeah, and I think the reason they changed the service is because they can't just keep calling it Fast Pass and then charge you for it. And I think that's why they're rebranding it. Fast Pass went away for all,
Fast Pass plus 2. Something like that would be fun.
As far as Fast Pass, it died when the parks closed for COVID. It never came back. So when they were bringing this back, same thing as the Magic Key. The reason they're calling it Magic Key instead of Annual Pass is it's something new, right? You can't complain that it's not as good as it used to be because Lightning Lane is a new thing. So I get why they would rebrand it. I just hate the fact that there's not a free option. That if you want to be in the Lightning Lane, and we talked about this a lot on the episode of ParksCenter two weeks ago. When we, kind of let loose our thoughts about Genie Plus, Lightning Lane, and all that, the fact that you have to pay to get into this stuff. I just wish there was still a free option. When they did Max Pass at Disneyland, there was still a free option. This, to me, the fact that these signs are up, feels like, we knew it was coming.
They want cash now.
Well, I feel like it's going to be an October 1st thing. I feel like they're rolling it out with everything else that rolls on October 1st. But, I know, Desi, you're terribly excited to start paying for these, so let me throw it to you next.
Absolutely not. But I think it's crazy that Remy just opened, or hasn't even opened yet, and that has Fast Pass Plus signs still. So either there was a miscommunication, somebody didn't tell the graphic designer working on Remy, or this was kind of a last minute decision that they just decided all of a sudden, like, hey, you know what? we need some more money. Let's start having people pay for this.
Yeah, I mean, it's not out of the realm of possibility that a large organization like this just didn't communicate, right? The build team, they were trying to keep something under wraps. The people building the attraction had their initial plans that were approved, and that's what they built to. It doesn't, I can see a situation where they didn't know, and they already built it. So, but they're rushing this out, so get ready.
Yeah. Sorry, Desi. I didn't mean to push you
I didn't mean to
again. Shannon?
I think rushing it is the same reason why we have the name Lightning Lane, which is strikingly similar to Six Flags and their Flash Pass. And if we're going to roll out Genie Plus, why not make it something like the Magic Carpet Lane, something that you correlate to, a special entrance, a carpet, a red carpet, if you will. The whole thing boggles my mind. I don't think anyone is really going to pay for this unless it's their, once a year, once in a lifetime trip. I know I'm not going to pay for it. So hopefully that means shorter standby lines, but we can only hope.
Yeah, I mean, again, I'm not super excited about having to pay for it. I get that people are going to want to pay for it if that's an option for them to be able to get on it because it's once in a lifetime and all that, but it still feels like they should still have a free option somewhere along the line.
And they have an IP whose name is Lightning, and yet they aren't branding this with him at all.
And ironic that he's the representation of the one in France. And that's not called Lightning Lane. That's so that is.
Oh, but also in France, he is not called Lightning McQueen. He is called Flash McQueen. I learned that from Axel yesterday.
Oh.
So much knowledge being dropped on this show tonight. So let's move on to something else sad, because why not? We have this rumor that Spirit of Aloha show may not be coming back, and I'm sad mostly for the fact that it was one of those things that I always thought I would do and never got a chance to do. And so, I mean, you've got that. The whole cove over there that is designated for this show. We know it went away with COVID because, of COVID. But, we're talking about entertainment that is not going to be there. It was so cool always to see people getting dressed in their Aloha outfits to go watch this show. It was a big deal for a lot of people. And again, I never got to see it. I totally would go to see it. And for people who never get a chance to go to Hawaii, this was like a little, piece of that for them. Desi, did you ever go see it?
I haven't gone to see it, and that's because I was going to Hawaii so often because my grandparents lived there. However, they just moved to Florida, so I'm not going to Hawaii as much anymore. And one of the things that my husband and I like to do is go stay at the Polynesian for our anniversary if we can't get to Hawaii, because it's kind of like the closest we're going to get without having to get on a airplane. And so I was hoping that at some point we would stay at the Poly and watch the show and bring our kids to it, because they loved it when we brought them to a luau earlier this year. And it makes me very sad, especially as a Pacific Islander, that, our culture isn't getting represented at all anymore in entertainment. Or they could have at least had like a Stitch show up or Moana so that it's still, got the IP in there.
Did you not hear about the Pua and Heihei statue? I mean, I don't know. I don't know what else you want there. Shannon, thoughts on this one?
Yeah. So here is a useless Walt Disney World history fun fact. They used to hold mass in the Spirit of Aloha theater. And my grandparents one year made us go to mass. And now, if you're not aware, a typical Catholic ceremony mass is 1 hour. I don't know if it was a Florida thing or whatever, but I was kind of traumatized by that. Anyway, the show, I did go see it. It was cute. I'm sad that the entertainment is going to be gone, but who really went to that is the question that I ask. It was a one and done for our family, and I feel like it's probably a one and done for most people. It's not really something that you're clamoring to get a reservation for.
Okay. Eric?
I don't know. So I heard a rumor, but it's probably not valid. But basically, if, some of the performers used to live near us, and a mutual friend of ours basically said that what they think is that a lot of these people have been performing there for years and are grandfathered in and have fairly high salaries. And this is an opportunity for them to like shut that show down so they can kind of get rid of these people that have been there for years that make a lot of money. And then in like a year or two to open it back up and like have new people that get paid less. I don't know if that's true. But that was what a guy that I was at a bar with told me once.
Well, that doesn't sound right. That couldn't possibly be true. That sounds like a horrible thing. I'm sure that's not the case at all. Okay, well, let's move on to happier times because Jack is back at Disneyland. We're moving over to Disneyland, and we're going to talk a little bit about the Haunted Mansion Holiday, which is, I got to tell you, this is one of my favorites. And part of it's because I'm a huge Jack Skellington fan, but also because I just think it's so well done. And it's like they take, this attraction to the next level. And it's not just like, like the Jingle Cruise where there's some different jokes and there's a couple of presents floating in the water. Which I appreciate the fact they even try to do that, but this one is a full-on different animatronics, I love the music, the narration, all of it. I'm really excited that this is back, and then they've done. They've kind of taken this next step where they've got Jack and Sally socially distanced meet and greet from outside the mansion. So I think this is a really neat thing. I don't know if you guys ever been on this, Desi? No, you haven't been on it. Shannon, have you been on it? Eric?
No.
Just me?
No. Just you.
Do you?
I know people love it.
Yeah.
No, I'm definitely in the minority here. I know people love it. I hate the idea of overlaying. I don't care for Nightmare Before Christmas. I don't like the idea of overlaying a classic attraction like that. That's just my personal. I've softened on that over the years. Like, I'm willing to go see it because people say it's great. So I would love to go see it. I can't criticize something I haven't seen, but I always bristled at the idea of like we're doing this with an IP that I feel doesn't really resonate with me.
All right, that's a wrap for Eric. Thanks so much for being with us tonight. We appreciate it. Just get your check on the way out. Yeah, it'd be fantastic. Desi?
I haven't seen it, but I do love Nightmare Before Christmas, so I would love to see this overlay here in Florida. I wish that we could have it, but I guess it's probably just too expensive to do it here. I do have a Halloween cruise coming up on a Disney cruise ship, and I'm hoping that I still get to meet Jack and Sally there.
Yeah, we'll call ahead and make sure it gets taken care of for you. Shannon?
Thank you.
Yeah, so I understand what Eric is saying, and I've never been the biggest fan of Nightmare Before Christmas, but this is something that I feel like we need to hold on to. It is so special, and it has that re-rideability factor. So I've been to Disneyland. Shame on me, I did not get on Haunted Mansion when I was there because it was very crowded. But that is a big bucket list item for me and makes me want to go not once but twice because I do want to see both versions of that ride. So I kind of wish we did have that in some more places, maybe one day in Florida.
And as the story was told to me, they made 2 sets of these, and they put one at Disneyland, and the other was set for Disney World, but ended up going to Tokyo. So when I found that out, I was a little devastated because, again, I'm a huge fan of Nightmare Before Christmas, but I get what you're saying about the overlay. Like, if this is the first time you've ever been to Disney World and you go to ride the Haunted Mansion and it can't be the Haunted Mansion that you have heard of, I get that would kind of be a bummer. But I think the reason that it does so well in Disneyland is at least when, back when annual passes were annual passes and not magic keys, everybody had one, made a tradition to go. And it was something new for the locals because it was really more of a locals park. And so the Small World overlay, the overlays that they would do on Space Mountain, I always found those to be really cool. But you're right, it probably more is for the person that goes a lot as opposed to the people who are going for their first time and they want to see Pirates the way Pirates is supposed to be and Haunted Mansion the way that's supposed to be and all these classic attractions the way they're supposed to be. But they've just done an amazing job with it. And you talk about re-rideability. I rode it 5 times in one night just because, again, I love the music and the story.
The Gingerbread House.
And the Gingerbread House is different every year. I'm a huge fan. I'm going to skip over the Pelican's Landing. Basically, the Pelican's Landing, there's some expansion going on in Disneyland, but I want to talk about this Magic Key Lounge. So there is a magic name for the annual pass, and they've put together this lounge for key holders. with some, like, I love this, like, you know, the showing off the merch that you can get because you're a Magic Key holder. You know, they've got some, I guess this is a very Instagrammable spot to be able to take that. But speaking of the Nightmare, they've got a 20 years of the Nightmare Before Christmas overlay, the Haunted Mansion Holiday, which, you know, I would love to see this in person. Perks that they're doing for Magic Key holders, and I think they probably need to, because I think a lot of people were a little bit upset about the transition to the Magic Key instead of the Passholder, and we're definitely going to be talking about Passholders you know, in Florida in the back half of this. But this is going to be a tough one, I think, for us to talk about, because I don't think anybody else here on the panel is a Magic Key holder. But, I mean, Eric, is this the kind of stuff you think that we should see more of for annual pass holders?
Yeah, I think this is, like, Universal does this, right? And I think, like, people here locally in Orlando think, like, hey, they do this, they want to, like, you know, give perks to their annual pass holders. And for a long time, I think we've been made to feel that annual pass holders are almost like a boat anchor that's somehow dragging Disney down. And Bob Chapek mentioned we don't spend as much, you know, and all these things. So it's nice. I realized that in California that getting rid of the old annual pass program is not popular. But it's nice to see that with the Magic Key, you at least get something that makes you feel like they really want you to be there, I guess.
Yeah, no, I agree. Desi, we're going to talk about pass holders a little bit in the back half of the show, so hold on to the gripe a little bit. But I mean, as far as this goes, don't you think this is something we should be seeing a little bit more of?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of makes me want to have something like this for annual pass holders here in Florida. I guess if you work for Florida Blue, you get to have a cool lounge, but not if you're an annual pass holder. So maybe we just need to start spending more money.
Yeah, and you know what, we talk about Universal and the things that they do, because they've got a monthly pin and a magnet, and they do, you know, specialty foods and things like that. It really doesn't sound like anything that would be too expensive for Disney to be doing to help show that they really do care about their annual pass holders, because there are so many. So, Shannon, thoughts?
It surprises me that they don't provide a lounge for AP in Florida when you have the DVC lounge and when you have the Disney Visa cardholder lounge and the special character meet and greet areas. It would be so easy for them to just extend that to APs. You know, I don't think the Disney Visa cardholders, me being one of them, is really going to be that upset if all of a sudden APs had access to the same free Coke.
Yeah, no, you're right. As a matter of fact, as somebody who is DVC and has access to that lounge, I'm always afraid they're going to take it away, just because I feel like there's.
You would have to buy your own Cheez-Its?
What? No, you didn't have to buy your own
Cheez-Its. In a world where you have to buy your own Cheez-Its?
No, it's just, I don't know, it's just something nice, right? So I mean, I feel like there should be, you know, at least a little bit of something, and I mean, there's a lot of things we could talk about DVC and Passholder, and we're going to get back into that in the back half of the show. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we will be talking about Halloween Horror Nights, firsthand experience from the now open Universal 30th Halloween Horror Nights. Talk to you soon. Stick around, we'll be right back.
WDWNT presents Timekeeping, a year journey through the history of the vacation kingdom of the world. Join us for the premiere Tuesdays at 10 p.m. Eastern, or watch on demand anytime on the WDW News Today YouTube channel.
Muted?
Hey,
There
how about
you
that?
go.
How about that? With me now is a crew that went with us to Halloween Horror Nights this week, and it is Eric Morton and Annie. Hopefully, you guys are surviving okay after this, after the huge night you had on Friday night. I'm going to start, Annie, with you. You guys got to go and experience Horror Nights Friday night. What did you think overall about the event? Better than years past? I mean, this is an anniversary, right?
Yeah, it's an anniversary. After not having it last year, I think I'm just so happy to be back. Everything is just amazing. There's fog, there's chainsaws, there's jump scares, there's just everything you could want. A lot of original houses this year, so it's a big year, and it started off great, if you ask me. And the new shows are fantastic.
Eric, overall?
I had a blast. It was my first time at Halloween Horror Nights since 2002, which was at Islands of Adventure. So it's been a long time. I had a much better time than I was expecting to have. I thought it was great.
So this is one of the things that I wasn't expecting to come back so quickly after COVID, and I know it was one of those things that last year everybody wanted to come back in full effect, and there were some houses last year, I know, but I think this is one of the reasons, and you shared this video with me, and we're going to share it with everybody else here, from the other night when you guys were there at the opening of everything.
Yeah.
That's a lot of people, Eric. I don't know if everybody gets that same.
Up at that balcony.
Yeah, like the same COVID creeps that I do. But talk about horror. That is not my new horror. Is that many people in one spot? But it certainly looks like everybody has.
Let's get this out of the way.
Yeah, let's do it.
Universal has done away with any COVID precautions at all.
Yeah.
The only COVID precautions I saw were that many of the team members and performers were wearing masks. No distancing, no masks, no nothing for everything. I mean, Universal has decided that COVID is over, so you can come out of your fallout shelter, everyone. Universal decided it's over.
Yeah, Annie? Yeah, like what else can you say to that, right? I mean, it's just...
People are dying to get back, to Horror Nights, and it's the first night and stuff, and you stop. I was glad to be on that balcony, though. I agree with you there, Eric.
Yeah, you know what? And again, I hadn't been until 2019, ironic, and it was the first time I'd ever been, because I like it when it's really not so scary. I like, over at Disney when I get to be in the Disney bubble over there. But I know a lot of people love this event, and it's huge every year, and it gets bigger and bigger, and people, it's a tradition for them, like people have, Christmas traditions. This is the Halloween tradition for so many people. People make pilgrimages there from, wherever to be able to go see this every year. And last year, they couldn't. And it was one of those reminders that things are not normal because they didn't have that available. And so I think that Universal had it all teed up. They were ready to do it, and then they pulled the trigger. They pulled it at the last minute, and then they just did some houses. So wasn't last year supposed to be, Annie, the 30th? Is this like a 30th redo?
I see people are arguing in comments about it. I don't have a strong opinion that it needs to be. Last year was technically the 30th. I think we didn't have the event. This is the 30th, actual anniversary of the event, right? So I agree that this is the 30th, if you ask me.
Okay.
But I know people are pretty opinionated about the whole situation there. I've seen some comments.
No, you're right. I mean, if they didn't do it last year, then I mean, this is the 30th time that they've done it or they've had it. That definitely seems like, we can call.
If you're like a huge Halloween Horror Nights fan, then I think that you would enjoy this house. But it has all this story, background, details that I have no knowledge of. This legendary truth. Luckily, we had the RIP tour, so the guide gave us the whole backstory before we went in. But I think all of us are just not that level of fan for HHN. And so going through that house was just more confusing. Not scary. It just had like a lot of story to it that I don't think any of us got. So if you're not like a big fan and this is your first time, be into that house. But I know that the fans are probably loving it. So like, again, don't hate me because I didn't understand.
All right. Eric, do we still have you on? What was your least favorite?
I think we're lagging a little bit. I think you asked me what my least favorite is.
Yes. Yeah.
I agree with Annie. I think it was the Case Files house. So there are a few houses there. Oh, first of all, I will tell anyone, all 10 of the houses were fantastic. The sets were beautiful. The craftsmanship that went into building these is great. The effects were great. Case Files, and I think there's Welcome to Scary. Is that what it was called, Annie? Are the two that had the most like inside fan service to them. Like these are for the people that spend all year on like message board forums discussing the lore and history of Halloween Horror Nights. So a lot of the references might be lost on people. I think they were still fine houses, but they were the ones that were everyone's kind of like, I kind of had trouble with exactly what was going on here. But I still think they were great.
Okay, so the scare zones are back, right? We got scare zones, and you got shows. The one show that I was looking at was the one that was the and now I don't have it anymore. With the fire.
Nightmare Fuel.
Nightmare Fuel.
Nightmare Fuel. Did you guys get to see that?
Fantastic.
Oh, yeah, that was amazing. You must see.
It's fantastic. I didn't even want to go to a show. I was like, why are we going to a show? And it was illusions and fire and like contortionists. And it was like Cirque du Soleil. It was like a Vegas or Cirque du Soleil type of show. It was really well done. Great effects, great dancing. There was stuff all over the place. Great music. I was surprised by this. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really cool.
And Annie, this is a new show, right?
Yeah, and I know I'm going to probably get more hate messages for this one, but my first reaction was Bill and Ted Who?
Oh! Yeah, no.
I will say this. I will say this, too. Take some of those photos of that show and juxtapose them against, like, a Halloween cavalcade at the Magic Kingdom, and that is your Disney in the Streets, Universal in the Sheets moment. Annie has the shirt on. But, that is... Very, very clear distinction between the target audience, I think, on this. Look, if you go to the Nightmare Fuel, it's great. Maybe cover your kid's eyes. Maybe cover your wife's eyes or your husband's eyes too. It's not for the faint of heart.
I mean, this looked pretty intense. It looks like Madonna's coming at a guy with a machete. Is that correct?
Oh yeah, that's just par for the course in that show. It's tons of that going on.
What about food? Did you guys try any of was there specific to the event food that you guys got to try?
Yeah, you cut out. What did you say,
specific to the event food? Was there any food?
Yeah, there was a magic potion drink that was just terrible.
All right. Annie, what were you going to say?
I was going to say, I tried some more food yesterday. We did the Texas Chainsaw Massacre booth. So we had like the Leatherface cherry pie, which was amazing. The barbecue sauce was great. We had some of the Jack Carnival food, and it's like a slider, like a burger slider with bacon jam between two donuts with bourbon, like frosting on it, and it's good. It's good. I promise you, it's good.
Yeah, just the Leatherface pie. I'm not. I don't know. Again,
It actually has a face. It actually has a face.
oh, I saw it. Yeah, Yeah. No, I prefer Dollywood, where they have the 25-pound apple pie. Yeah, let's stick in that zone. But no, you're right. I mean, the food looked very cool. Eric, did you have anything that you loved? You mentioned a drink you didn't love.
All right, there's a magic potion drink. It was just awful. It tasted like someone cooked potpourri on the stovetop and then strained it into like a glass with some alcohol in it. That was bad. Some of the food, the only other food that I had was in a VIP like catered area, so I don't know if it's available to the rest of the park. But it was fine. It was crime scene cake. You're not gonna see that at Disney. Crime scene cake with blood icing. It was delicious.
Okay, so I asked you what the worst house was. I'm going to start with you, Eric. What was the best house this year? Best house.
That's really hard. Okay, so there are 10 houses, and I think 8 of them are the best house. But if I had to pick one, I really liked, Annie's going to have to help me with the name, but it's Grove, a Pumpkin Grove. And Wicked Grove. So you go through this thing, and there's a story about they have to get these 5 ingredients to create the Pumpkin Lord or something to create Halloween. Anyway, I just remember it was really cool. It kind of smelled like a Michael's in there, like a little pumpkin scent everywhere. But they had a really cool area where you go across a covered bridge and pieces of the floor are missing, and the effect, like when you look down, it looks like it's bottomless, like you would fall into like a river far below. I thought that one was really cool. The Haunting a Hill House one was also very notable as a favorite, I think, with everyone.
Okay. Annie?
I agree. Those are the 2 I have tied for first place too. I finished watching Haunting of Hill House, which I know I mentioned that I was, trying to get through it. And so I finished it. So like, it really made a lot of sense to me. It really brought the story to life. Like, I felt like I was in it. I had a lot of good scares too. So I really enjoyed that one. But the pumpkin one is another one. Got a lot of good scares, really original story, just intricate details. A lot of times we talk about all the scares and we don't talk about the sets and the details and things. There's a part where you feel like you're walking through like an actual like inside of a pumpkin, like the walls are all textured and there's pieces hanging down, so you're kind of like going through the insides of a pumpkin. And so not only the scares were good, but the set was really good. So those were the 2 I had picked for first and second. I couldn't really pick
and I think the one thing that those 2 houses had in common is they had areas that you walked through for more than a few seconds that didn't have anybody popping out to scare you. So you got to build that anticipation, like that kind of sine wave, where some of the other houses, in particular, I think the Bride of Frankenstein Lives house, there's just somebody jumping out at you like every 5 steps. So you get almost desensitized to it. These houses, the Hill House and the pumpkin one, have places where you're walking down like long, dark hallways and you don't know what's coming up next, and you have time to kind of think about it. And that, I think that is a little bit more skillfully done than just like, let's just have someone hop out from all sides every 3 steps. That's
so about the people hopping out, which is a lot of the house. We had a story ahead of time that said there were going to be vinyl dividers separating the guests from the scare actors. Is that a thing that happened? And did it affect, and I'll start with Andy, did it affect the experience at all for you?
That's tough to answer, honestly. There was a lot of obvious spots where there was the plexiglass or the divider pieces, but surprisingly it's not in front of every scare or every scare actor. So there are a lot of good jump scares, despite you may see a lot of them coming just because you can kind of see that little divider. Some of them are pretty like obvious, and other ones kind of blend in really well. And then there are a lot of scare actors that aren't behind any kind of divider, and I don't know I don't know how that works out where they pick and choose where they put it, but it did take away from the overall experience. It wasn't 100%, but I definitely don't think it ruined it in any sort of way.
Eric?
Yeah, there were, like she said, there were some areas where there actually wasn't vinyl, where they would pop out and more into the hallway. There's a cool mirror effect in the Puppet Theater one where it looks like they jump through a mirror at you. That was really cool. But in general, yeah, you can spot some of these kind of vinyl, I don't know if it's a shower curtain or whatever it is, but between you and them. We also had a gentleman, most people in the chat know by the name of Pete Carney, who was more than happy to jump up behind his friends who were going through the haunted house and grab them as if he were going to, everybody needs a child in their group, and ours was Pete.
So helpful. So what was that any different as far as them letting people into the house? Because I think I mentioned last time that when I was on there in 2019, there were people like holding on to me that I didn't know from behind. But did they let you guys in? And are they spacing people out when they're letting people in?
Not really. No, we weren't really spaced out. Not significantly. Just kind of natural spacing that you would leave between, some group that's not your own, I think is fair to say.
Okay. Overall, let's talk about this overall, and I want to get feelings from both of you guys on this. And we'll start with Eric on this one. Are you going to recommend that people should go to this year? And if so, do you have any tips for them or things they should be aware of that are going to be different because of COVID?
Yeah, I would recommend going. I bought the Rush of Fear pass, which is like $150, but you can go, I think, every day in September. So I will go back. I will be unable to talk my girlfriend into going with me. She is hard set against it, but I have a number of us bought that pass, so we'll be going back. I would say, for one thing, don't try to do all the houses. We did 14 houses, but we had an RIP tour, so we didn't wait in line. Some of the lines were over 2 hours. So you're probably not going to get to see all the houses in one visit. And I would not waste your precious time waiting for the Lagoon show, which was fine, but really not worth the wait. I forget the marathon something Lagoon show. I don't know.
Okay. Annie?
I really enjoyed the event. I will be back a lot. I think the scare zones are, just fun to kind of go through over and over. The houses did have long waits, but, that's kind of going to fluctuate a little bit if you, try to space it out. Like Eric said, you might not get everything done in one night, just depending on wait times. You can, do the stay and scream. I think they have holding pens. You can stay in early before the event. You can have your ticket scanned in if you're already in the park and wait in an area. They had people lined up for Texas Chainsaw and Bride yesterday early. So, if you want to just get there early, you can maybe get a lot more done. Last night I went, and as the night got later, the lines kept getting shorter and shorter. So, if you're into staying up late, I would suggest checking it out, at the end of the night for shorter lines.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. 2 a.m. the lines were really short.
Oh, really? That's weird. Why would that be the case? I think that's the thing, is that if you are local and you can go multiple nights, I think that's what works out the best, right? Because in the times that I went twice in the same week, and it was nice to be able to cover some stuff one night and then cover the rest in a different night. But the lines are really usually what makes it so you can't do as much as you'd like to do. But luckily, you can go through the scare zones, eat the food, experience the show, and be able to kind of maybe hit a house or two while you're there. So hopefully you guys get a chance to check it out. Thank you guys so much for sacrificing yourself to a RIP tour so that then you could come on here and talk about this with everybody. We really appreciate it. I was really trying to downplay that y'all did the RIP tour, but y'all kept talking it up. So
Annie let the cat out of the bag. So
must be nice living that high life. Now that you've done the RIP tour, you probably can't afford to get a Disney annual pass. So we're going to talk about that when we come back. Annie, thank you so much for being with us. We appreciate it as always. Don't get too scared out there, and everybody stay safe when you get into these houses. We will be back in just a few with our pressing issue of the week. Don't go anywhere.
Welcome to Unplanned Downtime, the YouTube channel for all your favorites, including Cosmic Read Live, discussions and Imagineering attractions, Deep in the Plus, reviewing the catalog on Disney Plus, Ink and Paint, celebrating female voices in the Disney fandom, WDW News Tonight, a late-night comedy show with sketches and characters, Boxed In, opening mystery packages and viewer mail, Picky Eaters, trying to eat our way across Disney restaurants, WDW TV RPG, a tabletop adventure set in Tokyo Disney Sea, and more of your favorites. Subscribe now at unplanneddowntime.com. Remember, it's not an accident, it's unplanned downtime.
Welcome to Deep in the Plus. Each week, join host Rob Whiteside and a panel of Disney superfans as they take a different movie or TV show from the Disney Plus catalog, tell you its history, details, give their review, and let you know if it's worth your time. Current shows, classic movies, and everything in between. Watch Deep in the Plus live Tuesday nights at 9 Eastern for new episodes, or catch Deep in the Plus anytime on YouTube at unplanneddowntime.com.
Welcome back to ParksCenter. Again, thank you guys so much for joining us tonight. We hope you give us a thumbs up. It helps people to find the show. We really appreciate you tuning in and being with us, chatting with us tonight. Tonight we're going to talk about an issue that I feel like is a pressing issue, and it's the fact that they just announced WDW, Walt Disney World, pass holders, the new passes. If you haven't had a pass, they've been kind of on lock for a while where you couldn't buy a new one. You could renew one if you had already had one in play, but you couldn't buy a new one. On September 8th, they're going to allow people to finally buy new ones, but they've got a whole new tier program that looks eerily familiar to the Magic Key program, and so we're going to talk a little bit about that tonight. I know that on News Today, Tom mentioned that he was not going to go off on a rant about this, that he felt like it was just a price increase. I've got some different thoughts and issues with the current landscape of what they're about to roll out, and so I want to make sure that we kind of give everyone a voice here to talk about what their concerns are about it, share them with you. We'll be watching the chat and see what else you guys have to say about it, but I want to start, Desi, because you and I have had a lot of conversations about this offline, about one thing in particular, and that's that it feels like it is one price for everybody, including children. And that's not a good thing for you.
No, it might not be a huge deal to Tom because he doesn't have kids. And for me, having a 1 and 2 year old means that next year I will have a 2 and 3 year old. But according to Disney, maybe I'll just have 2 2-year-olds. Who knows? But the fact that I have to pay my 3-year-old to get in the same price as a full adult just seems crazy to me. For a long time, I would say as long as they've had annual passes, there has been one price for kids and one price for adults. And just as my kids are getting to the age where I'm going to have to start paying for them, all of a sudden now I'm going to have to start paying adult prices for them. And that just seems crazy to me. And, the other thing, as somebody who lives for Instagram, I'm so upset about PhotoPass being an add-on charge. The price of the annual pass, the way it's tiered doesn't seem that horrible. Knock on wood that they don't hear this and decide to jack it up even more. But, it's fairly comparable to what I'm paying now. If it's $40 now for a silver and $50 now for a gold, and my husband and I decide, because he has silver and I have gold, if we decide to meet in the middle and go with the Pirate Pass for $45 each a month, that's really not any different than what we're paying now. But if you add on another $45 on top of that for a 3-year-old, that's a huge difference.
Yeah, and so let's talk about the levels here real quick, just to make sure everybody knows. So they came up with the cutest little names for them, just to make sure we didn't get upset about the pricing that they attached to them. So you've got the Disney Pixie Dust Pass, which is $3.99, and then you've got the Pirate Pass, which is $6.99. Both of those are for Florida residents only, and then you've got the Sorcerer's Pass, which is $8.99, and that one is going to be available for Florida residents and Disney Vacation Club members. And then you've got the Incredipass, which is $1,299 for an Incredipass, which if you are not a DVC member and if you are not in Florida, this is your option. This is the one that you get, is this $12.99 pass. But luckily, current pass holders can renew this for only $1,104. Wow, that is a bargain. Again, I mentioned Dollywood earlier. I think a Dollywood Gold Pass, which is the highest one you can get, is $220. Now, I know Dollywood is not Disney World, but I may be spending a lot more time at Dollywood down the road here. Eric, let me pass it to you. And as a Floridian, what are your thoughts?
Sorry, that was the fireworks exploding everywhere, if you wondered what all that noise was. I think a lot of people, there's some general relief because we saw what they did to pass holders in Tokyo. We saw what they did to pass holders in Paris, and we saw what they did to pass holders in at Disneyland. And I think that took the sting off of this price increase a little bit for some people, just like some relief that it's there. I have a few observations. Number one, they've changed the dates that are blacked out for the Pirate, which is the gold, right? So we can actually, let's start there. Let's start with the names. What is wrong with silver, gold, platinum? Everybody intuitively knows like silver, gold, and platinum is like a good, better, best, right? Now they have to come up with these convoluted names, and the only reason I can think of to do it is to confuse people. I don't know if their intention is to confuse people, but I don't think this administration has earned the benefit of the doubt that they aren't trying to confuse people. Universal does this, right? They have like the premier and the preferred and all these words that kind of are similar, and you got to like make an Excel spreadsheet to figure out what's what. Anyway, I'm not a fan of the names, number one. Not a fan of the artwork, number two. It looks like a Buffalo Wild Wings menu. But we get into the, especially with the Incredipass, you pay $400 more, but they've changed the dates that are blocked out. So it used to always be like you'd be blocked out basically spring break and Christmas. Now you got Christmas and Thanksgiving. Spring break is not blocked out, at least on the chart that I saw. The problem with that is that the Park Pass reservation is still required. So if I pay $400 more to get on the busiest weeks there and when there's the most competition to get a Park Pass, and I'm not guaranteed a Park Pass, I'm going to be pretty upset. So I don't think I'm going to do the extra $400 for that. Those are days I generally don't want to be there anyway. I probably will downgrade to this Sorcerer Pass. Unless they say you're guaranteed a Park Pass reservation on those days that you're paying the extra $400 for.
Yeah, when you were talking about the Pixie Pass, just to look at the blockout dates, it almost looks like you can't go Saturday and Sunday. And I feel like that's the best day to go into the park, but you can't go Saturday and Sunday. You can't go during spring break. You can't go during Christmas. You can't go if there's a full moon. You can't go if, it's just, there's a lot of dates. And you know what? It's $400. And so for $400, you get an annual pass. That's great, but you've really got to be prepared to not go on any of the weekends for that one. So, I think for most people, I assume that one's out. They're probably offering that one just to say, hey, there's a $400 option. If you want it, no problem. You can go ahead and grab that. But I don't know many people who would be able to get much out of that one. Get some of your thoughts.
Yeah, so I'm probably in more of a unique situation than most people. I am not a local to Florida. I've only been an AP holder since 2019 is when I purchased it, and I used it for the first time in January of 2020. The only reason being is because I knew I had 2 trips that year coming up. So for me, the 2 trips paid for itself, and it was fine. Going forward, I am also not as price sensitive because it is just me. I don't have children, and my husband doesn't always come with me because he's not as big of a fan of the parks. So sometimes he'll even come down with me and not get tickets. The thing that's important to me here the reservations, which I think are absolute nonsense. I'm tired of playing these games. I'm also tired of the not being able to park hop until after 2 o'clock. And the second is the discounts. Those discounts are still in place, I believe, the same that they were before, which is for merch and for dining. Those are big things that are important to me. I spend a lot of money on merch and dining when I go down. So having those discounts is an added benefit, and I'm happy to see that that's still there. I'm hoping that they will in the future continue to have the resort discounts. Sadly, they are not going to have them for when I go down in the fall in a few months, probably because the demand is outrageous. There's no need to, give away your deluxe resorts at 40% off. But I have to say those are big positives for me, are those discounts being still in place. I'm just not sure how it's going to play out with the quote-unquote no blackout dates, but there may not be a reservation available for a given day.
Yeah, park reservations, that's the big difference, right, is that these include park reservations and how many you can get. If you're on the Pixie Pass, you get up to 3 days, which there's only 4 days in a week you can go anyway, right? So, I mean, you just pick 3 of them. Then you've got 4 days for the Pirate, 5 days for the Sorcerer, and 5 days for the Incredipass, with the ability to have quote-unquote bonus reservations when available. So I guess in low times when there isn't a lot of capacity, a lot of demand, that they may throw you a couple extra ones. But the Park Pass system being integrated into Magic Key and being integrated into the new passes in Disney World say that this is not temporary. This is not because of COVID. This is something that they enjoy doing, and they will be doing it for a long time to come. Eric, you talked about Universal before. Universal never went to a Park Pass system, and they seem to be able to handle things fine. I mean, Park Passes in general have been kind of a headache for you as a blogger, as a person who is like a Floridian. I mean, how often is the Park Pass thing shutting you down when you want to go, spend a day in the park?
Well, obviously it's been a lot better recently with, school starting back up and things like that. 4 months ago, it was really bad. It was really difficult to get a Park Pass anywhere. And now it's a little easier. Universal, though, the difference is that you can show up to Universal, plan your trip, and get there and be turned away at the gate. So I'm not sure which system is better. I just don't want to pay. I don't want to pay for days that I can only that I don't have a guarantee of getting. I don't want to pay $400 extra for the Platinum or whatever it's called, the Incredipass. When I can't get it, if I'm not guaranteed a reservation.
Yeah, let's get
what
those
I
names
also
right.
wanted to mention about the add-on, the $99 add-on for the water parks and whatever other little things that they had offered for sports, golf, etc. Usually for me, I love Typhoon Lagoon, but I will only go once a year, 1 day out of the year max. So I did a quick look recently, and I realized that ticket gate prices for Typhoon Lagoon right now are only around $63, $65, I believe. So paying for that $99 extension is not going to be a benefit for me at all. I won't do it. So I don't know how other people feel about that. I'm not sure if water parks are big for the locals. It doesn't seem like they are. So not sure if you're really going to get that from the local pool.
The other thing, the 2 additions that we see here are, as you mentioned, the water parks and more, and then also the photo passes. Desi talked about a little bit before. It feels like the optics are bad on that to remove photo pass. I feel like photo pass should have been a part of this all along. And maybe bump up the price a little bit. And I mean, the prices are more for DVC. The prices are more for kids. If you had to bump up the price already, it feels like that would be an easy thing, especially with the automation of the ride photos, to be able to just include that. It feels a little bit like a slap in the face to take that away. And Desi, you were talking about it a little bit earlier. I mean, will you buy that additional pass, or are you just going to abstain out of just complaint? I mean, as a stand.
I haven't made up my mind on that yet, only because I do take a lot of photos because I love Instagram, and also because I've got little kids. I don't want to have to fiddle with my camera, trying to pull it out, trying to ask some random stranger, hey, can you take this photo of me, or stand in line and then ask a PhotoPass photographer to use my phone and just smile for their camera knowing I'm not even going to use it. And, you know, their cameras are better. So I haven't made up my mind on that yet. You know, part of me wants to not do it just to take a stand. And then part of me is like, I wonder how many cast members, how many PhotoPass photographers are going to lose their jobs because they have taken this away from APs.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Eric, you're an Instagram influencer as well, I know. So, how do you feel?
I'm the opposite. I'm the opposite. In fact, I remember when they first added PhotoPass to the annual passes. So PhotoPass was never free. PhotoPass, you were just forced to buy it with your annual pass. You were paying for it. And I actually remember putting in a survey, don't offer this pass. I don't want PhotoPass. I don't want to have to pay for you to roll PhotoPass into my pass. I'm happy without it. Unfortunately, now it's like I'm still paying for it and not getting it. So I don't know what the right answer is. It's not an amenity that I want or need, but I understand that there are people that want it and need it. So I guess in one way I'm happy that I don't have to pay for something I don't use.
No, I get that. And I mean, people have talked about that for years about buying a la carte, right? But the problem is if you buy a la carte, it should be cheaper, not more. And so,
right, that's the problem, right?
Yeah, and so what they're doing is they're giving you they're charging you the same, but they're not letting you in the park anytime you want because they're adding the passes. They're not, to Shannon's point, letting you park hop whenever you want to, but you're still paying the same price you were paying for unlimited park hopping. And so those two things together, mixed with losing that photo pass, it just seems like that could have been one little concession. They were like, you know what, let's just add this. And I think that when I looked at buying Max Pass in Disneyland, that included PhotoPass because it was an easy thing for them to throw in. And I was like, you know what? I feel bad that I'm paying $15 per ticket per day to be able to get a Fast Pass, but I get the PhotoPass thing too, so let me go ahead and take advantage of that. Same as when I go to like a Halloween party and I want to get as much candy as I can because I want to get my money's worth, I would actually use a PhotoPass when I was in there because it was included with it. Now they're not including that, but on top of that, now we also know that Genie is looming, Genie Plus and Lightning Lane, and that's going to be an additional cost to us. And the way that they broke it down in that great video that like a billion people thumbs down from Disney, the way they broke it down was that annual pass holders would be able, given the same opportunity as everyone else, to buy it a la carte. So there doesn't seem to be an add-on to be able to do Genie Plus or Lightning Lane type of a situation on this. So that's another thing in addition to all the rest of this that we're going to have to be paying for. But, I mean, again, I'm going to go to Shannon on this one. I mean, you just got into the AP, and now there's all these extra things they're charging you for, and on top of that, you don't get what you were promised in the first place.
No, and I'm tired of the piecemeal situation. Like, I don't want to think about all these things. To have to think about your AP and those extensions, and now have to think about Genie Plus and all those add-ons, it's too much for me. And for me, someone who has been to the parks religiously, who goes all the time, like, I don't need that. I don't need to pay to get on the ride that I've been on 100 times. I'll either wait and stand by, or I just won't simply go on it. So to me, I mean, maybe you are making my life simpler because, all right, this is what I'm going to do for the day. I'm not going to worry about all the other, things. I can't say for sure right now if I'm going to extend. I do have a long time. I just extended mine before this whole thing came out. So for me, it really all depends if I'm going to continue this new tradition of going more than once a year, or maybe I'll revert to only going once a year the way I used to, in which case it won't be worth it.
Well, if you lived in Florida and you were okay not going on weekends, I've got the perfect pass for you, so we'll talk about it later. But
Great.
Again, like for me, I think I'm the only one here that was DVC, and that sounds like, I paid a lot, and I can't really, it's not like I'm rolling in it, but I did, that was one of the things that if you're going to have DVC, you're going to go to the parks. And so they had somewhat of a discount on the tickets, and apparently that's not going to be a thing anymore. And if that's not going to be a thing anymore, that's kind of devastating, and that's going to make me really kind of second guess what I'm doing with that, because DVC is already hard to get a room. When you want to get a room, you have to plan 9 months out or hope that somebody cancels. And then on top of that, now you don't get that discount, and you never really got a discount for Disneyland. It was just for Disney World passes. So, I mean, that to me is another place where I feel like I don't understand why they're not giving that concession to their fan base that is like a loyal fan base, people who are paying, the yearly fees, who bought in, to the magic. And now that now you don't have that. And again, I've mentioned several times I'm a Kool-Aid drinker beginning to end when it comes to Disney. But back in the day, you had the ticket system, right? And the ticket system was you paid a small price and then you paid per ride. And they were like, oh, we got this great idea where we're going to go ahead and we're going to make it one price. It's all inclusive, and you get to ride whatever you want. And now then they raised the price higher and higher, and it's $120 to get in, but you at least you get XYZ. And now they're like Shannon, like you said, they're piecemealing everything across the board again. So it's to me very disappointing to see this the way this is laid out. And you could just say, oh, it is what it is, and inflation, and they had to raise the prices. But I feel like
these prices far surpass the rate of inflation.
Well, I was gonna say, I feel like the kid thing being the same, the DVC not being a discount, and the and the loss of the photo pass, just in general, without having to pay Lightning Lane and Genie Plus, seems like it's going to make it super expensive. And again, you live close to the Magic, Eric. Like, how is this going to change your your day to day when it comes to Disney?
I don't know. I guess we'll see. I thought maybe the company would behave like they were grateful to be open again and having people come back, but it seems like they're in a hurry to remind you who pulls the strings around here. So, like I said, the increases far surpass the rate of inflation. They go from trying to help the company stay afloat to kind of just being feeling greedy. But we all expected this price increase. We've had time to prepare to brace for this blow, so I'm not shocked at the price. I'm a little surprised that they are making out-of-state people purchase only the highest level pass, which I don't know the numbers, but I'm guessing is very close to the price of 2 visits. Right, so if you come on 2 vacations and you get a 3 or 4 day park hopper, I'm guessing that the price of the annual pass is something that you're going to have to weigh carefully. I'm guessing the prices are really close to one another, with the annual pass being slightly more. And then, I feel like they're trying to leverage data to extract the maximum amount of dollars they can out of you. It's a business move. It's not necessarily the move that I would want from the company that, was such a big part of my childhood.
Yeah, I agree.
I think it's also a business move for them to do the reservation system, because they can attempt to run a leaner operation. That there's only going to be 10 people who are going to be coming in the gates in the morning. You can have less people working in your quick service places or your retail shops. And sure, you can account for the park hoppers later in the day, but it's all about control and what's more convenient for them rather than what's going to be convenient for their customers.
That's a thing, right? The use of data. So not only are they able to use this data to manage their parks, but you're kind of paying them for the pleasure of doing this. Like, some companies are just happy to sell your data and your stuff. Disney actually leverages it against you to figure out how to get more money out of you and to run their parks leaner.
Yeah. So again, I know this is not a problem for everybody, and the choice is yours. You buy the pass or you don't. But I think that with all of us on here and all of you who are watching, I think our Achilles heel is we love the Disney parks experience. We do. We do. We will still buy the merch. We'll still buy, we'll still buy into it, and we still want to go. Some of us move close to the Magic just because we want to be there more than, more and more. But they're just making it hard right now, and it seems like every move makes it harder. Whether it's the the move of the losing the entertainment, or the Lightning Lane stuff, or the configuration of the Magic Key, and now the reconfiguration of the annual pass, the park pass reservation system. I explained that to my sister the other night, and she was like, I'm confused. Like, she doesn't go every day, and I really am worried about also the people who go, it's just their once in a lifetime trip. and there's so many things that are like that you need to know when you go. It's almost like you have to like have a second degree in Disney to be able to understand the park pass system, the meal plan system, the annual pass system, the all of these different pieces that are in play. So we'll continue to talk about it on here. We'll continue to have some good, wholesome conversations about it. But at the end of the day, and if we don't stop going, then that's there's really not much that can happen. We hope that Disney hears us, and we hope that they know that a lot of these things aren't sitting well with us. But again, if we continue to go, that's going to be the situation. So before we bow out of this, and again, thank you guys so much for watching tonight. We really appreciate it. And again, if you can give us a thumbs up, we appreciate that as well. We'll be back again next Sunday night to talk a little bit more. And we have a post show for our Wigs members. So if you are not a Wigs member, you can go to patreon.com/WDWNT and find out more about the Wigs program. We love you guys. Thank you guys so much for being with us on all our shows and being in the chat and talking with us. We have a post show for you after this. But before that happens, I want to go around one more time, and we'll start with you, Eric, and just get some final thoughts, okay?
Sure. My final thoughts are, I guess we'll see how this goes. I don't feel like Disney has our best interests at heart. But again, we're addicts, right? We have built our friendships and our community around being together with our friends and family in the Disney parks. We don't want to let go of that. But we are passionate about this thing, and I think that it is something that's important to call out when we see our experience being diluted and them extracting more money for it. So I don't feel shy about saying I'm not getting for my money what I used to, but also I don't feel empowered to really do anything about it because I'm still going to go to the parks because that's where my friends and family are. So unfortunately, it's a position I find myself in. I don't have any good answers for anybody. I'm the dumbest guy in the room, but let's just hope for the best. Hopefully people reject Lightning Lane. Hopefully people reject Genie Plus. Hopefully these things fail miserably. So there we go.
You're not the dumbest guy in the room. You're backward hat guy, man, and you will always be backward hat guy. So, but no, that means that's you hit the nail on the head. That it's where everybody wants to be. I'm sure when people come visit you, that's where they want to go. Is they want to go. They want to go there. And when the parks first opened, they didn't open Disney first. They opened Universal. And I think a lot of our team ended up finding new interest in Universal because they were the first to open. They're cheaper on their AP. They have more AP options. There was a lot of that. And I think there will come a time on this show where we'll have to go head to head and see what is it that they're really offering and have that conversation. But it is Disney's kind of like what brought all of us together is our love and our passion for Disney. So we hope that they hear it, and we hope that there are good things on the horizon. Okay, Shannon?
Okay, well, I'll try to keep this positive, but I think in general, us, the diehards, the loyalists, we are really taking on the burden of this huge imbalance of the demand, way too much demand and way too little supply. So I feel like we are in a way getting nickel and dimed, and every little corner is being cut to kind of figure out how to deal with this. I am hopeful, though, that in the future, when everything settles and the pandemic dust settles and all this other crazy stuff, price hikes, etc., I believe that one day Disney is going to understand that they are going to have to build another whole park or, take advantage of that giant piece of land that Walt blessed us with. So I'm here for it. I have faith. I think we just need to get through the tough times. And if not, then we'll go to Universal.
Chief Leaf, thanks for the $2 super chat panel. What does everyone think about Arby's? Did I miss something?
Oh, man.
I've never eaten at an Arby's.
Their curly fries are good, but you can tell they're frozen because they're always stuck together in one lump of curly fries, and that's a bad show.
Well, and they have the meats. So, I don't know that you can really argue with that. All right. Desi.
I don't have anything to say about Arby's. I'm sorry. But I will say that I am not 100% sure if we're going to renew my husband's annual pass. Just because of all of this, it might just make more sense because he doesn't go quite as often as I do. You know, sometimes I'll go by myself, I'll take just the kids, I'll go with my aunt or friends. So we might just wind up buying him like the Florida resident 4-day passes, you know, maybe one at the beginning of the year and then one in the second half of the year, because that might wind up making more sense for us than buying 2, well, in this case, maybe 3 annual passes if I have to get one for my 3-year-old at the adult price. But I am grateful that they didn't do to us what they did to annual pass holders in California, in that we don't have to pay for parking, because if we had to pay for parking, I think all of us, like our entire family, would probably just be out, because that would be enough for me. I would just cancel my annual pass.
Now, you do know, though, you are still getting this magnet, right? I mean, you do know that
Buffalo
that's
Wild
happening.
Wings magnet.
I do not know that because I never got my Tinkerbell magnet and I never got my Orange Bird magnet.
Yeah,
so
what?
I'm not confident. Yeah, I am not confident I'm getting a Mickey magnet.
Here's what I think happened. I think that they came addressed to your husband and he took them and he's not going to share them. That's what I think happened. You may want to check with him. I can't be 100% sure, but that's the rumor I'm starting. So, you know, but I mean, I love that perk. It's dumb, but I love it. I love the magnets.
Everyone also light a candle for Desi because she's about to have 2 2-year-olds for a 2 or 3 year period.
I mean, yeah, but she's going to have to pay full price for them. So unless she, you know, dresses them appropriately, I don't know what you do, but we won't tell anybody. You know, we'll go, oh, that's adorable. When are they going to be 2? We'll back you up. It's fine.
Never.
Yeah, and you know, again, I love the perks that we get, and I love being able to say I'm an annual pass holder, but there's going to be this decision I'm going to have to make when mine comes up for renewal of, do I pay that $1,100 or do I wait then for the next time where I know there'll be a window where I'm going to be going. So the park pass thing, I wish it would go away. There, and you know, Shannon, you made a great point. There are so many hotels on grounds that there's more people who want to go into these 4 parks, which makes more lines. There should be a 5th park. You know, right now we're down to 1 water park. I mean, I have not heard when that other one's coming back, but we're down to 1 water park. And then, you know, I was really hoping at like 2-3 years ago that there was going to be an announcement with all of the stuff that they announced at D23, that there was going to be this huge announcement at the end of, you know, on the 50th, where they said, hey, guess what, everything, we got all this cool thing, but you know, we've got a 5th park coming, because Universal's about to get that 3rd park, you know, that's going to be coming, that's going to have a lot of cool stuff in it, hopefully, and then people will start having to make that decision of, am I going to continue to be a Disney World annual pass holder, or am I going to be a Universal pass holder? So there's a lot riding on that 3rd park, I think, and I think if things go the way I hope they do, we then get some more control to be the ones to say, hey, look, we're going to go to Universal unless you guys do something else. So hopefully that's going to happen. But who knows? Again, thank you guys for watching. You know, we appreciate you being here, and we will be back next Sunday night at 8 p.m. with another ParksCenter as we count down to the 50th anniversary of Walt Disney World. Hopefully we'll have some better news next week, and you know, it'll be sunshine and rainbows. But you know, well, fingers crossed. Thank you guys so much. Thanks, panel, for being here, and we will see you guys in the post show if you're a Wigs member. If not, see you next time.
Bum, 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 bum.